How's it going? Not too long ago, I made a video going over my thoughts on Hollow Knight Silksong. Now, this video was made before I entered Act 3, and I had little to no interest on completely finishing that. But after inspection, after I'm gotten into Act 3, I now have a different point of view. So, with that being said, we're going to be talking about how I feel now. I currently have 89% with 70 hours in the game, and we're going to be discussing things I like, things I don't like. But right off the bat, we're going to go with something I don't really like, and which is the first boss I ever fought in Act 3, which would be the Bell Eater. The Bell Eater, I don't know why it took me so long. I mean, it's just, I'm not good at these types of games, I guess. But Bell Eater took me way too long, and it was not a fun fight, in my opinion. Especially because it was just, I don't know, I could not get a flow going. Bell Eater is probably like a D class fight. The only good thing about this fight is when the Bell Beast comes in and absolutely mollywops him. But other than that, I really do not like this fight. The flow is very it's not my cup of tea at all. But like I said, when the Bell Eater comes in, that's when the best part of the fight happens because it's the end of the fight. I don't like this fight. And there's a couple other fights that I don't like as well, such as this green bird. I don't Pale Stag, that's what it's called. Pale Stag is barely even a fight. It is just a small room. You have to occasionally dodge boomerangs, and then you have to make sure that you are hitting Pale Stag. It is not a fun fight. You're just walking around, hopefully trying to hit him, and you just get Cogwork Dancers or Lightning Bolt, and you should be fine. It's not a hard fight. It's just a lot of running around, and I did unfortunately die to this boss somehow. But yeah, it is not a fun fight to go against, and it's just pretty boring, bland. Thing I still don't like is Biowater, because Biowater sucks. The enemies, platforming, the run back, I do not like Biowater. Moving on, next one. High Halls, still do not like this room. This room I do not like. You can turn off the Claw Maidens, but still, it is just way too hard for no absolute reason. And after looking back on it with being into Act 3, I do think that Maofei is a little bit better than I first anticipated. But with that being said, we're going to be going over things I do like, such as Quest King Kong. I actually really like him because you might be like, well, it's because he's very well telegraphed. Yeah, that's the reason why. I really like his fight because I can kind of see what's going on. I can tell what he's doing in the boss fight, and those are the types of boss fights I like, and you'll actually see that in some of my other fights that you'll see as well. But Quest King Kong, I really like him. He's a good fight, and I really enjoyed it. Another boss I actually really enjoyed was Seth. Seth is a very fast and fluid fight, and the thing I really liked about him is the way that his moves like kind of flowed together. I actually really liked, and once you understood what was going on, it was pretty well telegraphed, and I was able to get him into a loop, and I actually enjoyed when I could fight against him, especially in the second phase, and it actually wasn't that bad of a fight, even though I'm not really good at these types of games. Also, literally right after is another fight I really liked. I forgot the name of her. I think her name's Nylith. Um, but she was a very fun fight. I don't think I normally would like these types of fights. But the way how it kind of like flowed together, well, I mean, I keep on saying that. I guess like pogoing the boss itself and like trying to make sure you're not falling in multitasking, if you will. Something about it made it very good, in my opinion, and it helped that Seth was also right next to it. So I was like, they weren't bad bosses. I do think they are of the better ones, and that's what I've noticed about Act 3. Act 3 has a lot of good bosses, in my opinion. Another good boss is the Clover Dancers. Now, the Clover Dancers I really do like because they are basically a different version of the Clockwork Dancers, which are one of my favorite fights in the game, and we'll be going over that in a little bit. But the Clover Dancers, it's kind of the same spiel of you look for the telegraphed attacks, you make sure you're not in the line of sight, and then you avoid. Now, the only difference between this and Clockwork Dancers is you cannot hit the ghost, because the ghost is a ghost, and you cannot hit ghosts. So, there's that. And the other thing is, in this fight, when they can join together, they make this tornado attack, and once they do this tornado attack, you need to like jump over it. I found it easier to jump over it, um, but yeah. But Clover Dancers, really good fight in my opinion. I liked it. The boss run bet, not so much. But either way, you can't really go wrong, especially because something about the way these fluid bosses work make it just so good. Speaking of fluid bosses, Clockwork Dancers, my favorite boss fight in the game, and I don't think anyone's going to take the place as of now. I mean, who knows? There could be more. But like I said, the Clockwork Dancers are one of my favorite boss fights in the whole game due to how fluid, how telegraphed, and almost not easy, but you can understand how you got hit, and you realize if you got hit, that's your problem. Because look, it shows you where they're going to be going. Um, it is a telegraphed in a very visual way that will be like, oh yeah, here's where I'm going to be. Um, you could just say I'm just bad at games and this is a easy fight, but something about it is just really calling, and that's what I like about it. And the other thing is the lore implications. We know that these Clockwork Dancers are dancers. Yeah, that's great. Awesome commentary. But we know that like the second Sentinel is a like Clockwork Dancers, and the Clover Dancers are dancers like these guys too, or I don't know the whole lore, but something like that. But either way, it's such a good fight, telegraphed perfectly, and then once you officially destroy one of the Clockwork Dancers, it makes for the sad scene of you just absolutely basically winning the fight because the other one is very sad. So yeah, Clockwork Dancers, my favorite boss fight. Here's my spiel. I mean, I don't really watch too much Hollow Knight content, but I do think this is the best fight in Hollow Knight. You might just say I'm bad at the game. With that being said, is Hollow Knight Silksong a good game? Yes. I do believe that it is a good game. I do think you should try it out if you want a challenge. If you're looking for an easy game, this is not for you. This is a very difficult game. And it's going to be very frustrating. But I do think it is a very good game in my opinion. I think if you want to try it out, go ahead. Uh, Although it is not for beginners, I've learned that the hard way. But with that being said, thank you all so much for watching, and I shall see all of you in the next one.